Hi guys, it's Tamra, the Judeo-Christian medium. So, what does that mean, Judeo-Christian? Well, what I am is a disciple of Jesus, and I'm trying to follow his teachings, his suggestions, I should say. He's with me now, and he said even teachings sounds a little more harsh than what he intended. So I'm trying to follow and discover by talking to him what his messages were during his lifetime and now, but before the Bible was written, because although there are many helpful things in the Bible and other teachings, other religious texts, it is not fully what his messages were or are. Some things have been exaggerated, and I'm working through that, trying to get the messages to you along with other people. So that is why my name is Tamra. I'm Tamra, the Judeo-Jewish Christian medium. So I am a medium. I'm Jewish because Jesus has told me, and I've traced, Jesus has told me that my ancestry goes back to the tribe of Saint Peter, and I can't tell you all who I was yet. Jesus says that it can at a future time, but it's very relevant for the subject today, the subject of George Soros. And forgive me if I sound so dry. I just have so much to say. I know this is going to be a long video, and Jesus told me to go out and have a couple of drinks earlier so that I would calm down, and he didn't elaborate too much. He just said I would be relaxed. So sometimes I'm a little hyper in my videos. I have ADHD, so a lot of this is going to be off the cuff. I'm probably going to miss a lot of information, so I'll probably make a second video. I've been sitting on this information for a while, and what happens is I start to learn things. Having ADHD, I will tell myself that I'm going to remember everything, and I don't. So I have to do like research, and then I have to talk to Jesus and my team, and it's just a whole mess. But I do have notes that I'm going to use, and before we get started, I'd like to introduce my spiritual team that's here. So we have God, who, God the Creator, the energy is always around us. And then my spiritual team is Jesus, who is a messenger of God. That's what he was when he was here. He's had other lifetimes. That's what he was. That's what many mediums are. He is, how do I put this? He is, the right hand of God. He is God's biggest, strongest messenger, but there are many, many messengers of God and Jesus. So I just wanted to clear that up, and also to let you know that to give a clearer picture of what I've been told is that when humanity was created, God co-created humanity with the Pleiadians. Jesus represents the Pleiadians, but Jesus is a Pleiadian, Arcturian, and a tall white. So humanity was co-created with God, the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, the tall whites, and reptilians. So I'm going to do a video on the 4 schools. I've talked a little bit about it, and I'm going to go more in depth with talking about each group. And the Harry Potter, forgive me, they're talking too. The Harry Potter series talks about each group, and that was downloaded. The whole series was downloaded as like a many things have been downloaded through mediums and creators that explain what happened, how it all happened. But I'll get into that at another time. I just wanted to give a brief description for this video because we're talking about Mr. George Soros. So, okay, we have Jesus, Archangel Michael, who represents the tall whites, and as many of you know, Archangel Michael is a protector. He's part of my my little group, my little circle. And then we have Archangel Azrael, who's also very heavy, tall, white, and Pleiadian. Azrael represents the law and bothersome details, contracts, helping with. So these are our helpers. Many starseeds have trouble. Some don't. Some are tall, white, and don't have trouble, but many starseeds, especially heavy Pleiadian like myself, have trouble with paperwork and clerical work, focusing on that. But if you're having trouble with that, pray to Archangel Azrael. So next to Azrael, we have Archangel Raphael. And so they're all here. They help me with everything that I need. Archangel Raphael helps me with my health. And I want to remind you all that I would not be here if I didn't have this circle. It's a long story, but I've had many, near-death experiences, illnesses. So they've helped me with that, and I just want to give thanks to Archangel Raphael. And please, guys, pray to Raphael if you need help with your health. They are on call. They need your permission to help. 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 They need your I mean, they help, but they want your permission. We have free will. They want your permission to help more. So next to Archangel Raphael is Archangel Jophiel, who I've told you all, the archangels can, they take a piece of their energy and come into human form. So she took a piece of her energy, him, her, they're all both, took a piece of her energy and became John Benet Ramsey. So, and she's had other lifetimes. Just to let you know, all archangels, when they come in human form, are twin flames. So there's that too. So if you're just tuning in from the internet, and you're just tuning in and you just wanted to know about George Soros, my spiritual team loves to say this. They love this joke by, oh my goodness, this comedian. Guys, my brain is just fried. I can't remember his name, but it's like, he says, oh, you got the bonus plan. Oh yeah, so this comedian was like, his big joke was he would invite a girl over to snuggle, and then, you know, they would do more than snuggle, and the girl would always say, I thought we were just gonna snuggle, and he'd say, well, you got the bonus plan. So anyway, if you guys are tuning in to watch this, just to learn about George Soros, you got the bonus plan. Okay, so anyway, that's Archangel Jophiel. She represents and helps with star quality and fame and talent. So please pray to her if you would like to expand your star quality. So then after Jophiel, we have Uriel, which is me. Have branched off from Archangel Uriel. I have a twin flame. He is also of Archangel Uriel. I'll get into that at another time. So after Uriel, so that's me in the center, then to my left, we have Archangel Zadkiel. Archangel Zadkiel represents and will help with balance. So please pray to Archangel Zadkiel if you're feeling out of balance. Next to Zadkiel, we have Jeremiah. And let me calm down a little bit. When I start channeling, I get really worked up. I'm getting kind of really hot. This happens to other mediums. Actually, Archangel Jeremiah, let me just talk to him for a minute. Sorry, guys. He wants to talk to me. You guys might hear things in the background too. Sometimes it's people in my building, and sometimes it's my spiritual team. My spiritual team, John Benet Ramsey came through during her video. I time-stamped it. Sorry, they're talking to me, guys. JFK is here to talk about Mr. George Soros. Okay, so Archangel Jeremiah said to pray to him if you have a lot of work to do. Just pray to him if you need the strength to keep going when you feel like giving up. Next to Archangel Jeremiah, we have Archangel Raguel. And Archangel Raguel comes to me as like this, and they all have colors too. I forgot to mention that. I'll mention that another time. Archangel Raguel comes to me like as like a Hispanic man. He's very warm, but Archangel Raguel, he represents like love and flirtation, charisma, but that just flirting. I'm talking to him, guys. So if you want to flirt, you want to attract someone, pray to Archangel Raguel. So next to Raguel, we have sorry, they're talking. We have Archangel Chamuel. Pray to Archangel Chamuel. If you need to calm down, which I do, my brain is just firing on all cylinders right now. It's so funny that, people with ADHD, they can kind of seem like they're not thinking at all, like just spacing out. But it's really just a million thoughts coming together all at once. And then it's also, I'm a medium, so I'm getting all these messages, and it feels like my head's going to explode. But it's internal, so I just look like blank. Okay, so after Archangel Chamuel, we have Archangel Ezekiel. Archangel Ezekiel helps with like cooking, If you need to figure out ingredients, you don't have your recipe in front of you, or you're trying to think of, especially with healthy food, trying to think of a way to make a dish healthier, pray to Archangel Ezekiel. Pray to him to ask him about ingredients, how to eat healthier, and if you want to study nutrition, try to hook up with Archangel Ezekiel. And then next to Ezekiel, and I want to thank them all too, because he's helped me a lot with that. Actually made like a mug cake the other day, a keto mug cake using avocado as the fat. So next to Ezekiel is, they're talking, hold on, is Archangel Haniel, and Archangel Haniel it's hard to describe what she's showing me right now. She helps with sleep, music. She comes through in spiritual music, like I haven't really gotten into this, but a lot of people listen to, I think it's called like binary beats. You can pray to her for that. And then we have Archangel Daniel. And Archangel Daniel, he just makes me smile. He's like, comes to me like a little leprechaun. And you can pray to him for luck. So that's my outer circle. I was talking about my inner circle, but I got my inner circle, I got to Michael, but next to Michael is Metatron. Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron branched off and came here as Robin Williams. So that's the embodiment of Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron is represents the Arcturians, and so it's a comedy. Pray to Archangel Metatron if you would like help with or connect to your inner comedian, music. Oftentimes a lot of our music that really moves us has been co-created by Jesus and Archangel Metatron, and a small group of Pleiadians and Arcturians, some tall whites, that's Archangel Metatron. And someday I'll tell you exactly how I'm connected. That's a story for another day. And then so now we're in a circle, so to my direct left is Archangel Eric Medhus. His mom has a channel on YouTube, and Archangel Eric Medhus is the liaison for me. And I don't give him enough credit because usually there's so much going on in videos, but he is the liaison for me to connect to spirits that have passed that want me to talk to you all, to give their messages, especially, not just, but, many of them, their lives were cut short. So Eric has become for me, and he says other mediums too, they may not be fully aware, or they might. He said, yeah, he's saying some of them do, some of them are aware. But please pray to Archangel Eric Medhus, and especially if you want to do mediumship, you want to do tarot, you want to connect to people on the other side. That's what he's been working on. That's what he was working on before he came. And so that's his specialty. So then, right in front of me, very close to my heart, is Archangel Gabriel. And Archangel Gabriel has, fractioned off, and he's saying don't get into that, but he's just very close to me. Pray to Archangel Gabriel if you need help communicating and being very honest about your feelings. He's saying no matter how strange they are, pray to Archangel Gabriel if you would like help with being non-judgmental. So of especially like new ideas, different ways of thinking, and so then also with me are the Pleiadians. So this would be the Pleiadians, that are not here on Earth, the Pleiadians that hang out in the fourth dimension and beyond. They are here guiding me. The Arcturians, same thing, and the tall whites. So we will get into that another time, but they all are in the fifth dimension and the fourth dimension, guiding us and protecting us, because there's reptilians in the fourth dimension, but there's dark reptilians. Reptilians are very earthbound, so there's a spiritual warfare going on, and that's how Mr. George Soros, this is a good start to introduce his soul, what his contract was. So Mr. George Soros, he comes from a Jewish background, and so this is going to be a lesson in a little bit of what has happened in Judaism too. So let's go back to Jesus, and sorry, they're talking. Jesus and Judas, okay? So we know that Jesus, along with myself and the other disciples, were Jewish, and Jesus was simply trying to he was a medium, a messenger, and he was trying to just help the Jewish people with his messages, just to guide them, to help give them a better life and help them be closer to God. So that made people uncomfortable, and that's why he was also very talented and very popular. So nothing's changed, guys. Like people who are very talented and popular, we're not talking like mean girl popular, which is the Jezebel spirit, which is Dark Reptilian, but popular because they have star quality, because they, think of John Benet Ramsey, think of Drew Barrymore, popular that way. Oftentimes tend to be good people, and I hate to say like good or bad, but it's like, it's very judgmental, but the only reason I say that is because it leaves an opening for Dark Reptilian energy to come in like Judas and betray. Now, the reason that Judas betrayed Jesus is he was jealous. It wasn't that Jesus was forcing people to live a certain way. People loved Jesus. They loved, just as they do now, they loved his messages. They were helping people. People's lives were becoming better. And I will get into, I have given messages as to his suggestions of how to like have a better, healthier life, along with, the messages. It's all coming from the same source, but, the different factions that I've talked about. But anyway, I digress, of course, always. So Mr. George Soros, he comes from a Jewish lineage, and which is the lineage from Israel, from Jesus, okay? And at some point, there's a lineage from Judas. And this is not just in George Soros's family, it's in many families. It's in my family. That's how I am related to this. That's why I'm talking about this in such painstaking detail, because this apparently isn't my first rodeo, and this has happened in many families. It's talked about in different ways, generational curses, and it's not just with Jewish people. It's all coming together, guys. Like in all different areas. It's like the psychology and narcissist experts of coming together with spiritual experts and figuring out the same thing, like the Jezebel spirit. Like the narcissist community talks about that. So, narcissism is the dark reptilian energy, which is the Jezebel spirit. It's just different words for it. It is, it's, a dark, they call it Jezebel spirit because it tends to, it's more of a dark feminine spirit, which, I don't want to, it's not a bashing of feminine energy by any means, because, positive feminine energy is great, but when you mix it with negative, it's incredibly, selfish. Any sort of man who has the dark reptilian spirit is going to be operating from a dark, negative, feminine energy, which means instead of protecting, he's harming, which is just the opposite of true masculinity, of what men are supposed to do. So, Mr. George Soros, what happened to his lineage is it was becoming more and more reptilian in spirit. So he has had many lifetimes of being reptilian, and reptilians, intelligent reptilians like George Soros, when they're here, they can be very successful. And success is not a bad thing, but they can be unscrupulous. And what happens is when we pass, I've talked about this before, we are at peace, and we go into the fourth and fifth dimension, depending on what's going on with us, and we do a life review. And on the other side, everybody wants to help God and help the Jesus and the all of our spirit, the spirits that I've mentioned are just my spiritual team. There's just branches and branches. People talk about, Admiral Ashtar, and he's part of the Tall Whites, and there are different religions. But anyway, on the other side, that rules. Like, everybody is like, oh, yes, we want that on Earth. We want to bring that energy to Earth, that peace and love. So, in productivity, the reptilians especially are very productive people. They want to be productive. But anyway, so what happens is souls go on the other side, and after lifetime, reptilians, it's like a plea bargain. Like they make a promise, some of them, when they come here, they say, I really want to make a difference. I really want to have a mission. So oftentimes, it's a very old soul, as George Soros is. He came here to be what is called an earth angel. So he was born into a family that was well off, and he was given high intelligence, attractiveness, everything that would make him successful. But his soul made a promise that he would use that success for good. And he was told he would face many challenges. It's like the movies, guys. So, and he agreed that he would do that. So it's really tough, though. In his defense, being reptilian makes you sort of understand and how do I put it into words? Relate to a dark reptilian force, which is always preying on all of us. But with someone like George Soros and his mission, he's going to get he was fully preyed upon. So, sorry, they're talking. So what happens is in general, some people do complete these missions with their challenges. They are, even being reptilian, they can oftentimes, if they do their mission, when they come back as an earth angel. Like, they can never come back as like a reptilian can't turn into a Pleiadian, but they come back with the spirit of God. They come back as an earth angel. That doesn't mean perfection, guys. It does not mean that at all. An earth angel is a reptilian that is very grounded and here to help. Earth angels would be, I would just describe the energy as like just those really salt of the earth people. Like, think of, like a really, really good, like they're showing me right now, like the softball coach who's driving, everyone around, and, that type of person. They're laughing at me because it's all in my head. They're like, you're not making good, like making it clear, but just, because I'm just all these people that I've known who are earth angels, they're all in my head right now. But, someone who's very modest and usually hardworking. Think of your positive sort of PTA leaders. Generally, they could be, they could do, they're saying that they tend not to be like your stars, but they might be like local, not, maybe like hero types. They're like, okay, that's enough. I'll talk about that on another day. But anyway, Mr. George Soros came here with that intention. Now we have free will, guys, and all kinds of things can happen. So this relates directly back to me. Not only have I had lifetimes with Mr. George Soros, given that we have very similar backgrounds, so think way far back, we're both Israelites, but then, we've branched off and done other lifetimes, but in my family background, I am Jewish and Christian, and what happened in my family was the same as what happened in George Soros's family, except my lineage, oh, well, no, it's the same, because his lineage was also, because it was of Jesus, it was a Pleiadian, Arcturian, and tall white, but got taken over by, it's like one person marries a Dark Reptilian, and then it just, the lineage gets split. And there are many families where the lineage like this is split. And there are many light workers and star seeds, empaths who have come here also to change their family lineage. And yes, George Soros, even being a reptilian, he came here to break that generational curse. But what happened to George Soros? And let me just look at my notes here. So George Soros was born Georgie Schwartz, August 12th, 1930, making him a Leo. Now, each sign can be positive or negative. When it comes to astrology, it's just a tool. Your birth chart gives you a tool, and you could use that for positive or negative. So what I do have to say though is, if a Leo goes Dark Reptilian, they're very, very powerful. So keep that in mind. But that doesn't mean like every Leo is Dark Reptilian. I know Archangel Raphael, when she was John Benet Ramsey, she was a positive little Leo. So please, I'm sure you all know this if you're watching my channel. We can go dark anytime. I can't become a Dark Reptilian because I'm, a starseed, but I can go dark. We can go to the dark side. That's with anybody. So let's see. You got the bonus plan if you're watching and you're like, what? Yeah. Yes, George Soros was born Georgie Schwartz. And so, on my mom's side, their last name was Derigian, which is Armenian, and supposedly, we are Armenian, but what I was told was that about 4 generations back, on my mother's paternal side, they were Jewish and were in Terezin, which is the concentration camps in what is now the Czech Republic. So Czechoslovakia. I don't know how to say that. Czechoslovakia. How quickly we forget. So back in the day, during World War II, which brings us to Mr. George Soros. Apparently, on my mother's side, the paternal part of my mother's side, they had escaped from the concentration camp, and ended up in Turkey, and the paternal side married an Armenian woman, a Dark Reptilian woman, and that took over our Jewish ancestry, because like Mr. George Soros's family, they had to pretend to not be Jewish to be Christian, and that was the same with my family. So we have that parallel. So I was told my family's name was Dirigian. Guys, I've looked up this name. It's like a made-up name. There aren't many people with that name, and Spirit told me that the name was actually Dweeble. So they made it up, like Dirigian. It was Dweeble, which was Jewish. They tried to make it Armenian, which is IAN, and they just made up a name, Dirigian. There was lots of that going on back then. There's been lots of that going on throughout the world. People changing their name for asylum, seeking asylum. So, but sometimes like things get lost. People marry reptilians, or dark reptilians, and things just get really, really messed up. So, and it's an energy. So they changed their name to Soros. It's a palindrome. So, I mean, just incredibly savvy, intelligent family, which is commendable. They knew that name, like they wanted to be successful, and good for them. And names that are a palindrome help you also become famous. So they're telling me, like, think of Ansel Adams, the artist. Like, that's a palindrome. It's this flow. I don't know that much about, I'm just learning about this. So, but anyway, if you want to be famous, give yourself a palindrome name, or something that flows very well. So, and Spirit is saying the parallels are, with my family too. They were able to reap a lot of benefits from pretending to be Christian. Okay, so George, let's call him Georgie Schwartz, Hungarian-born American businessman and philanthropist. He's worth $8.6 billion. And guys, the reason I'm able to talk about him, because there are those who shouldn't be named, going back to Harry Potter. There aren't that many, I've actually broken the rules, so I might have to take down some videos at some point, but there are a couple people that I can't talk about. They're untouchable, but Mr. George Soros actually doesn't. A spirit said that he doesn't mind people talking about him. Like, he's like, I wouldn't say proud, but it's like he's like gangsta. He's just like, I am what I am. Like, talk about me. So he is also the founder, owner of the Open Society Foundation. Oh, Spirit's telling me I've got to interject. His youngest son is a starseed and will actually do what George, he will create a lineage, which is not Dark Reptilian, which George was supposed to do, amongst other things. So George is an investor, hedge fund manager. And guys, I had to look up what hedge fund means. It's so funny. And just briefly, this all relates. I had a show in the city called, I would have a different co-host, but it was basically Tamara's Tarot variety show. I was an actor and I did improv for years, and I would do a variety show. And for the improv section, we would do improv based off of tarot cards. And anyway, it was a lot of fun, and it was a pretty successful show. And oh, it's so weird, guys. It's just so bizarre. But I had done, I don't even think I did improv with this girl. I just knew her from doing improv with her at another theater. And one day she just randomly showed up to my variety show, and I would read tarot for people before the show. So, I read for her, and she brought a friend, and they started coming to my show regularly. And she wasn't performing anywhere at all, and she actually asked me if she could be in my show as a storyteller, and I said sure. So she told a nice story, and then it was just the most bizarre thing. It was actually on my birthday. She came to my show, and just acting strange. She's like, oh, I'm staying for another show. We can't hang out for your birthday. I'm like, okay, whatever. So, but I just felt this really bad vibe, and a bad vibe from a few people there. They were just, I had a great group of friends I went out to dinner with, but they were just acting, this other sort of group of people were acting kind of sketchy. And I was just like, whatever. But Dark Reptilians do that. Come to find out these are Dark Reptilians. They'll do things like just act really weird on your birthday and make you think about them and how weird they're acting instead of, enjoying your birthday. So they were doing that, and learned such a huge lesson, because in many, many groups that we're in, guys, like, and I hope I'm, well, it doesn't matter, like, because I have a lot of reptilian viewers too, but not, this doesn't apply to Dark Reptilians, I should say. I want to be very clear. But many starseeds, regular reptilians, guys, just be careful of who you're around. Because of interests that I've had, because of things that I've done, it's like you're forced to be, not forced, but it's like you're put in with these Dark Reptilians. You don't know they're Dark Reptilian. And also, we're just in a culture where it's like we don't really know each other. That really bothers me. That it's like you go to work and you collaborate and you have to trust people. You don't know what their agenda is. But anyway, in this particular, this is the entertainment industry. It's just inundated with Dark Reptilians. And unfortunately, many have marginal talent some don't have any. Like this girl, she wasn't funny. You know, I don't know why she did comedy, but she wasn't funny. She wasn't interesting, and her story was okay. But it's like, what she ended up doing was that night, she was gathering people, my people, like people, my co-hosts, people in my show. And she slowly put together my show, but she was trying to make it sound different. And it was like the sneakiest backhanded thing. She asked me what my schedule was, and so this is about 6 months after my show. She said, oh, you know, I want to do like a show too. And it's like, okay. She wasn't really describing it very clearly, but she's like, I would love for you to read tarot at the show. And I said, okay, that's fine. I wasn't working that much. She asked me what my schedule was. I had vacation that month, which for a flight attendant means you're not going to work that much that month. So I think I was working like maybe 6 or 8 days. And she scheduled the show on one of those days. So that was the first red flag. And then I was just like, okay. Then I was not trusting what she was doing. Guys, she not only tried to recreate my show, she bastardized my show. It was a real S show from what I heard. It was a mess. She knows nothing about tarot. Or maybe like she's studied it a little bit, but and this is what I was told from spirit. Anyway, it was abominable, and come to find out, I looked her up, like I said, I don't know these people, and there's this way of being now where people don't talk about what they do for a living, or sometimes anything really about themselves, and you're supposed to trust these people, work with them. So I didn't have to trust her, really work with her, but I did have a show, and I sort of had to open myself up to the public and do readings for them. But had I been in a class with her, I would have to trust her to do improv with her. But anyway, trust me guys, this has meaning and relevance. And I used to apologize for giving a lot of information, but I don't want to do that anymore, because hopefully you want this information and you want to draw parallels. If you are into metaphysics, then hopefully what will help you is making connections, which like we did in improv, drawing parallels, and being able to think in a way where you have what the topic is. Like right now I have George Soros, and you're able to do these little like petals off of, like you go on a tangent and you come back, you go on a tangent, you come back, you go on a tangent and you come back. It's like that's how you learn about, and you branch off and then you come back, and that's where you get like more of a deeper knowledge of something. So come to find out, I look up this woman. She is the vice president of a hedge fund. Okay, guys? I have this woman who is, and it was very common here in New York for people who didn't have talent in comedy, which is subjective. So, you know, it could always be argued, but I'm just going to say it. Like, they just were not funny. Guys, you know if you're funny if you make people laugh. So people would claim to be funny, but how could you be funny if you never make anybody laugh? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. But I just met so many people who claim to be a comedian or interesting or deep or, you know, creative, and they just weren't. And oftentimes, like this woman, they would steal, like either steal like your whole show, or seriously steal, this is very Dark Reptilian, try to steal parts of your personality and steal parts of your soul, which is really ugly. And if you see it and it's happening to you, please, you can book a reading with me. I can help you with this. But please, like, understand it is one of the worst things that can happen to you, because what happens is when someone tries to steal part of your soul, your essence, they mirror it back to you, but it's in a really ugly way. So when you see it, it makes you feel like that's how you appear, because it's exaggerated and it's negative. So it's like seeing yourself mirrored back to you, but it's in this negative, exaggerated way, even if the person's trying to be positive. Say it's a positive trait of yours, like your laugh or something. You'll want to change your laugh or your voice or your cadence, or, you know, talking with your hands or whatever. You'll want to change that. Dark Reptilians can do that to you. They can also just make fun of your traits that, you know, traits are traits. Like, oftentimes they're shallow people, so they'll imitate, like I said, your voice or your, you know, these are people who like try to raise an eyebrow. You know, it's like, the stuff that I saw in acting, that people thought that if they could imitate other actors, make facial expressions, they would be a good actor. But, you know, this is what it makes money. Teachers teach this stuff too. Like, oh, if you move this certain way, you know, you'll be funny if you move your body in a certain way. You talk. People all started to talk the same. Perfect place for Dark Reptilians. But anyway, I mean, imagine, guys. So this woman, she's a hedge fund vice president of a hedge fund operation. I had to look up what hedge fund means. Lady, I mean, guys, I was born to do all this stuff, okay? It's inherent. And I've worked on this, my crafts and whatever you want to call it, my gifts or whatever, for my entire life, okay? I mean, I did do a job where, you know, I am guilty of doing a job that was like more for reptilians, not Dark Reptilians necessarily, but so, you know, I did go outside of my arena a little bit, but it was also a mixture. But anyway, imagine me walking into Miss Vice President's hedge fund company and just acting like, okay, I could imitate these people and get all the benefits. Like, that is what she did. She came to my show and she thought she would just imitate me and get all the benefits. I want to be like, Lee, what benefits? Like, what benefits? It's just a small show. What benefits are you getting? It was a mess, and it's also an embarrassment. It takes away from the quality and integrity that I put into my show. But yeah, I mean, where else can you get away with that? How else can you get away with that but the arts, like, and spirituality? I mean, I guess there are lots of arenas, but I just imagine me going into her hedge fund operation, and I still don't really, I looked that up, I still don't really know what it is. Even though I listened to the explanation, it just sounds like hedge fund. It's like, it just seems like it's just BS. It's like a group of people moving money around, moving money, robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I'm from the lineage of St. Peter. Oh my God, guys, this is just too much. So, okay. This all relates because, like I said, this is not my first rodeo with Mr. George Soros, and so he's also an author and philanthropist. Okay, so he was born in Budapest. I think they call it Budapest over there. I've been there. Incredible city, just incredible. And just a little history, you know, I went on the tour with the double-decker tour. Budapest is, it's one side is Buddha, one side is Pest, and that's why they call it Budapest. I think there's a river between it. So anyway, he was born into a non-observant Jewish family. They were wealthy, and apparently they lived like, talk about like feeling special. They lived on a little like island there, and like his dad took like a little boat to work, so they were special. But they lived during the time of Nazi Germany, and so Mr. George Soros also, in 1947, moved to London, went to the London School of Economics. He studied philosophy, which actually helped him. They're saying Dr. Evil. They're showing me Dr. Evil, guys. All these characters and movies it's all true. And the spiritual warfare. And I've said this in other videos, the Pleiadians, Arcturians, especially, and tall whites, they have dominion over the arts. And so they make these movies, they download these movies to people like Star Wars. So he studied philosophy. He created his own hedge fund company called Double Eagle. Okay? So he has been dubbed the man who broke the Bank of England because he did a short sale, which I honestly don't really 100% know what that means, but it was worth $10 billion. Supposedly like 1 million shares, or yeah. But he did this in the UK in 1992, and so it was called Black Wednesday, and it created a currency crisis. So, you know, this has so many layers, guys. We will get back to why he did this. He grew up in a Jewish family, which he has said they were anti-Semitic, so that is a bit of self-hatred and not cool, guys. So March 13th, 1944, a German-occupied Hungary. Mr. George Soros, he was taken under the wing by, okay, so his father purchased Christian documents for the family, protecting them, which you can't look down at that. George Soros pretended to be the Christian grandson of the Ministry of Agriculture, who he also had a Jewish wife in hiding. So, but what happened to him is he was reptilian, but what turned Mr. George Soros Dark Reptilian is at a very young age, like 13, 14, he was asked to hand out Jewish deportation letters. And, many of these people were not able to be deported, and it was actually letters for their demise. They were gassed. And then afterwards, he was involved with confiscating the Jewish people's belongings. So that's what broke him. He may have broken the Bank of England, but that's what broke his spirit and turned him from reptilian to dark reptilian. And if a reptilian is their leaders, their parents are dark reptilian, that is what happened to him. That influence will turn a reptilian into a dark reptilian. And I will get into galactic influences at another time, but you can have a mixture. You can be part galactic, part reptilian too, okay? So, and you can also, if you are galactic but you've had major trauma, you will not become reptilian, but you will have